good morning, everybody. Today is Monday, December 4th, 2023. I am Lindsay Duff, and this is Responsible Day Trading. So I have been a little bit under the weather for about the last week and a half. I am definitely on the road to feeling better. I'm not 100% there. Things have been a little wild. The market has really moved up. And when I got up this morning, huge gap on the way down. But you know what? We expect that kind of thing to happen. I mean, we're not expecting it to just run in one direction. It must pull back. And we have a big area for it to pull back to. And we're going to look at that in just a minute. A couple things I want to talk about. We are having a discount here at Responsible Day Trading. So I would love for you to be a part of that. We have a 30% discount. And we also right now are having a big discount with UProfit Trader. So until the end of the month, we're going to see a 50% discount on the renewal of your subscription. And we also have a free reset with each subscription right now. It will be when you renew your subscription. But as long as you're paying attention to that, 50% discount and a renewal. And going back to Responsible Day Trading, today is the last day for the 30% discount. So if you haven't taken advantage of that, definitely check it out. Come join us. Reach out to us at info@responsibledaytrading.com. Also, we have another thing going on for Responsible Day Trading. We've really been working to kind of get to know people in the area better. So we've been holding these drinks with traders, and we're doing coffee with traders on Saturday, December 9th. At 8 a.m. here in the Sugar Land area, we're going to have coffee with traders. That is going to be at Emini Coffee in Sugar Land. So if you are in the area, you'd like to join us, and it really doesn't matter what you trade. You can trade futures, you can trade stocks, whatever it is that's your trading preference, just join us. We want to get to know more traders in the area because we know it's a lonely job to be together at that point. So we know it's a lonely job. So we'd like to spend some time getting to know some of our coworkers, I guess you could say. Back to the market. We know that there has been a crazy, big move to the upside. And we know that there has to be a balance and check and balance. So it's going to pull back. And we saw that this morning. There's a huge gap this morning. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more. First thing we want to do this morning, though, is we want to look at the news. So let's go ahead and check out the news. All right, so we're going to come over here to Responsible Day Trading. We're going to go to news, and we're going to go to market news. Now, we have a lot more going on than I anticipated this week, although a lot of it is pre-market. There's nothing for today. So there's nothing for today, Monday the 4th. So the 5th, everything is after the market opens. The first thing that we see happening is 15 minutes after the market opens, and then 30 minutes after the market open. We've got quite a bit going on Tuesday morning. So we may see the market move just a bit tomorrow morning, 30 minutes after the market opens, because we've got a lot of news there. Wednesday, we have some pre-market, and then we have crude oil inventories an hour after the market opens. Thursday, it's an hour before the market opens. Friday, an hour before the market opens. So guys, places like UProfit don't expect you to get out of the market before you can trade news, but paying attention to it and being aware is key. Okay, so let's go ahead and start off with our daily chart. Okay, guys, so we're looking at our all-time high. Our all-time high is back here around 5,000. We have pulled back up as high as 4,600. So we're not at our all-time high, but we're not far from it. Okay, so this was our all-time high back here. This is a lower pivot that's happening, so we may see this push back down. But what we're looking at right now is the fact that we had this nice V pivot. We pulled back into the area here. We had that ultimate retracement divergence. Price moved up. Now, the MACDs were attempting to move up. They made a little blue BB. We're probably going to see this pull back a little bit more. Now, we are really far from the EMAs. When we're really far from the EMAs, we do anticipate pulling back to them. But one of the things that we like to see when we're really far from the EMAs is something that gives more of a V pivot that really expects us to push back into the EMAs. So we typically don't see just this slow movement to push back into the EMAs, but we did see it back here, and it was some work to get back to them. Now, if we had this nice sharp V pivot, we would expect a stronger snapback into the area, and we don't see that. But we've got a great area for support here if it does pull back all the way back there. Now, it's got a lot of work to come back in here, and we can see, and when we look at the smaller charts, our trading charts in just a little bit, that this one little bar does look like a very significant move, especially when we made that gap. But we'll come back to that in just a moment. So let's look at the 28,657. Now, we saw this whole struggle to move to the upside. It was a lot of work. We had a nice giant bar right here, which pushed things up. And then it just kind of, as I like to say, piddled its way up to the upside. Now, this has been a fairly strong move down so far. We are at the EMAs, which does give us an area for a bounce back up. By the look of what we see here, we probably won't see it just push right off of this area and move to the upside. But what we're going to look at in just a minute is the rest of our tick charts to help us really anticipate that. So being at the zero line and being at the EMA alone does not mean the move to the upside. You can see here we were at the zero line in the EMA, but it continued to push down. Now, this was kind of a weaker move back to the area. This is a very strong move back to the area. So I would not be surprised if we saw it pull back into this area at the very least. So the area that held us up before and we had a struggle breaking through, boom, broke through. What happens? We break through areas, we pull back to them. It's part of the game. So let's go ahead and look at what we see going on here in the trading charts, okay? So we're looking at our 10,946, we're looking at our 1597, and we're looking at the 233 tick chart. Now, when things are moving a little bit slower, we may use different tick charts to trade, but right now these are pretty good. So here we can see that very decent break from about 46.06 all the way down to about 45.94. So not a huge break, and it did pull back a little bit here. We typically do like to see a close of that area whenever we have these kind of things happen. It does look a lot bigger when we look at it on the 233, but everything looks bigger when you look at it on the 233. So what we have seen is a shift in direction to the downside, because we did still have direction to the upside on the daily chart and on the 28,657. It's working to shift it to the downside on the 28,657, but it hasn't happened yet. So we have really worked and we have shifted the direction. Well, not quite yet shifted to the direction to the downside on the 10,946. We're only missing one key factor in that, and we may see that happen here in just a moment. First thing we want to see is below the EMAs, below the zero line. We have both of those factors. But we also want to see a bar that pulls away from the EMAs. We have that here. Then we want to see the next bar close below that close. It really looks as though it's anticipating to close below that close, but we're starting to see a bit of a slowdown here, and we're starting to see a little bit of a slowdown here. So it may be work. Oh, doesn't look like it's going to be much work. We're seeing the strength still pick up. We saw the ultimate retracement divergence happening right in here, and it does look like it's still going to push down to the downside and switch that direction to the downside on the 10,946. Now, the direction to the downside on the 1597 shifted about right here when we got back below this area. I don't think we're going to have, it still has 3,000 ticks, over 3,000 ticks, so this could very easily close to the upside. Doesn't look like it's trying to. We'll just have to watch and see. Now, if we're looking at the 233, the direction shifts upside and downside very often. So it's very anticipated that it's going to shift to the downside very easily. So we have these three charts that have definitely telling us direction to the downside. Now, I've told you where my next area to anticipate things to move to, which, we do have this area of support right here, which is our first area. So around, let's see what this price is. 45, 46, or so, 45, 45, right around in that area. That's going to be our first area to pull down to, because you see we held here at this point, we held here at this point. But if it does still have the strength going when it gets to this area, we're going to start looking to the next areas. Now, we do have a bunch of support areas along the way, but we're looking at where our really big areas of support and resistance have happened. And that's all the way down here. So it is a couple of 100 points away. I typically don't anticipate making it to that area in one day, but you never know. You may have the people decide that that's what they want to do, and it pushes all the way down there. So what I'd really like to watch is this last bar close right here. And there's only 1,300 ticks. It's moving quite quickly. And with a big gap like this, or with a gap like this, we tend to see it move quite a bit at that time. It's really that strength behind it that created that gap and started opening up so much lower. As we're looking at this, it looks like the direction is definitely on its way to shifting. It's going to have to be a really extreme move back to the upside to close up here in order to not get the close below the previous close. So as we're watching this happen, we really have good anticipations that the direction on the 10946 is shifting to the downside. Now, direction shifting to the downside doesn't mean that it won't pull back. It has a great area, especially with these EMAs starting to roll over and pull to the downside. There's a great area for it to pull back in here. So as this is still pushing down, or even if it starts to pull back, we're going to notice these EMAs really start to kind of pull down and start to become closer and closer together, as we saw like it does in here when they pull back. So it gives a stronger area for the bounce to continue to the downside. So currently our direction is down on all of our charts. In 19 ticks, there we go. So currently our direction is down on all of our trading charts. It is still up on the daily, and it's working to shift to the downside on the 28,657. But on our trading charts, our direction is down. It does not mean that we can't trade to the upside. We could definitely take a trade to the upside if we found the right conditions for it. With this kind of strength happening to the downside, I wouldn't really chance a long at this moment. I'm going to have to see a lot of movement that really encourages the long before I do something like that. At this exact point, I wouldn't take a short either, because I'm so far from the last area or the next area that could create a bounce. You can see the way that this pulls back into here. So I am anticipating a little bit of a pullback into the area. If I'm going to take that long to pull back into the area, I'm going to need to see a slowdown in the way that the price is moving to the downside. And we don't see that currently. But also, if I'm going to take a short, I need it to, at the very least, pull back towards the 233 EMAs, which we don't see right now, in order to take the short to continue. And even then, it would be a little iffy taking a short, looking at the fact that I've got double white pivots right here. We have a little bit of a struggle making new lows on the 233. Now, the 10946, if we're looking at just the BBs alone, is showing a lot of strength down. Now, we are creating some separation between the Bollinger Bands and the BBs. So it would be an area, or we would start to anticipate them snapping back at some point if that Bollinger Band doesn't catch up with the BBs. Yeah, this is just going to keep pushing down right here. This did give, an okay pullback into the EMAs right here. Not enough for me to feel super comfortable, especially being at what I consider coming closer to the end of a move. And I say that because we've just had such a big push already. typically, what goes down must go back up. So whenever we start seeing reasons for, at the very least, a slowdown in these areas, seeing the divergences here, seeing the white pivots, seeing the distance from the Bollinger Bands, we may start expecting a bit of a snapback back towards the EMAs before it pushes back down if it's going to. So direction's down here. It's trying to make its way down on the 28,657. It's got a long ways to go before it's to the downside on the daily chart. And that's pretty much all we can see here right now. I am going to anticipate this to give a very decent pullback into the areas of the EMAs here. Okay, which is quite a bit. It's a couple hundred points, right? 150 or so to pull back into this area. So we've got a lot of wiggle room, a lot of stuff to play with between here. We do need to get back below here, then we need to get back below here. And what we also want to see is the EMAs remaining strong up, something like maybe right in here to help us continue to push this to the upside. All right, guys, my hair is wild. Remember, y'all get me first thing in the morning. So it's brush my teeth and then I'm here with you, okay? So it's not something fancy. I just want to get out here and get the right information to you. So don't forget about that coffee with traders. We would love to have you there. If you'd like to be a part of it and you need some more information over it, just reach out to us, or you can go to our Facebook and find the event there very, very easily. We'd love for you to join. And guys, there will be no spiel there. We're just going to be, talking about trading and experiences and, life outside of Ninja Trader or whatever it is you choose to trade with. Don't forget that we have that discount with You Profit Traders. So please take advantage of that 50% discount to the end of the year. And guys, we're looking forward to having you as part of this. If you want to start off your new year and have a new resolution of, this year you're going to take control of your financial future, definitely reach out to us. We are dedicated to being a part of that journey with you. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap that up. I've got yoga in 20 minutes. So I hope everybody has a wonderful week. Remember, if you've got questions, please just reach out to us. We're happy to answer them. Also, we would love it if you, liked, follow, subscribe, not just here, but we have a TikTok account that has a lot of fun things going on. And we do also have Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all that jazz. So if you want to be a part of the journey, if you want to be a part of the excitement that we have going on here, join us. We would love to have you as part of it. So everybody have a great week. And as always, that I look forward to catching you on the profitable side.